Hey everyone, behind me is our Forest River 22 MKSC, and we just did a bunk renovation that I think turned out pretty cool. So I'm going to take you inside and show you what I did.
Greetings from the Happy Trails family.
So it's going to be our first and probably biggest remodel in here, just to make things a little more spacious for us. There's the queen, and there are the two bunks. The plan is to, at this wall right here, we're just gonna cut these portions of the bunk and just run the floor. There's already some flooring going under this, so I won't have to put flooring in. But I'm just gonna make the bunk bed smaller. It's for the kids, they're 8 and 5, and they're excited about it. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna try and document this as I go, and maybe it'll help somebody else out, maybe not. All right, I got the top pieces off, and I imagine to get this off, I just have to pluck this off with something, and I think there's a screw holding that in. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so both of those nails are off. I'm just gonna unscrew this. And then I just kind of realized I'm probably gonna have to mark a straight line going from here all the way down to there where I want to cut it, so I can preserve this piece. So with that being the case, it might be easier if I take care of the bottom before I worry about that side. So I don't know. So I'm unscrewing the bottom plywood pieces, and I just noticed there's already some mold growing in here. We've had this thing for about a year. Only used it a couple times, and it happens that quickly, so something to pay attention to. All right, so I did decide it makes more sense to start working on the bottom now. So I'm about to have to cut that piece of wood with the scale saw, and Louis is going to be really, really sad. All right, so I'm taking this corner piece off here. Just cut that off. Maybe I'll repurpose this somehow. Maybe not. And this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to actually cut this back about maybe 3/8 of an inch or something. The plan is to use a piece of 3/4 pine to run along this way. I'm going to do the same thing up top for the beds to actually sit into. And then I just got to cut these all to the right length. Alright, so I'm sure there's a couple different ways to do this, but what I did is I just put my bottom piece in there and made a piece run underneath. And I left all this framing in place. That way I could make sure everything stayed about where it was before. So I put this piece under here, and then I'm going to build supports under each slat. And then I'm going to have a solid piece of plywood going on top, so it should be relatively where it was before and pretty sturdy when I'm done. Alright, so I got most of the framing done. I got those 3 pieces in over there, and I ran out of wood that I had already taken out, so now I'm going to cut this portion off and repurpose those. It's going to be a lot sturdier than it was before. Alright, so this portion is done. Still have the top to do. I just want to say I'm not using the level to actually level anything. As I'm sitting on a driveway on wheels, I wouldn't recommend using a level for anything in here pretty much. You just have to make sure it's square. So I was just using this to make sure that all my pieces were connecting with the level. So I was more so using it as a straight edge. All right, and so now I'm gonna work on the top. All right, so I scored that line across there using an oscillator or a fine tool, whatever you call it. And there's already this seam here. I'm going to try and repurpose this and use this for this skin for down here. It won't cover the whole thing, so I might have to reuse some of the some of this part, which went here before in this space. But yeah. All right, so I ended up cutting all of this with an oscillator just because it was safest. So I'm going to finish cutting through this one, that piece over there. I'm going to take these off, and then maybe I didn't mention it before. Down here, I have the supports sitting on top of this piece of framing. It's not going to work up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pretty big piece, maybe like 6 inch. I'm going to run that across. And then we're gonna have shelves that I'm gonna build over here, and a ladder that's gonna go here that shelf out with support, and we'll go from there. All right, so I've got the top bunk pretty much done. This side's very secure, screwed into that stud wall. The only problem over here is there's only a stud in that corner and right here, but not so much over here. So this is a little wiggly, but it'll have enough support once we put our shelves in right here. All right, so I got the first side of the shelf in. That right there provides enough support for the top bunk. All right, so that's gonna do it for today. Say hi, Emmett.
Hi.
And I've already laid up here and it's nice and sturdy. That's the rough framing for the shelves I'm gonna do, and I'll work on it some more tomorrow. So I just got the skins in here, the 1/4 inch. I used pine plywood for support on this side, and I didn't do anything over here because I was trying to save on weight. So I just have pine going over here. That's what I framed the rest of it out with, 3/4 pine. And then I just put 1/4 inch skins here. And then I'm gonna put pine pine faces around here. There'll be a slight overlap, but it's pretty much gonna mimic the shelves that are over here. So I'm gonna run some pine that goes along this way. And then we'll stain it. All right, so it's been a few days since I could get back in here and work on the bunks. This is the original mattress that was in there. I'm just showing you what it looked like. That was the bunk. And what I did is pretty much just cut that portion off and sewed it back myself. This is the bottom one. I haven't done the top yet, but it came out pretty good. My stitches don't look as pretty as this, so mine are on the other side, but it wasn't too bad. And then underneath it, I have a mold protection thing that my wife found. Looks like this. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's supposed to keep the mold from ending up on that plywood again. So that's where we're at. All right, so I got my 2 mattress cushions recut and reinstalled, and I have the anti-mold stuff under there. And next I'm gonna cut a piece of that pretty stuff to put here and go with this piece that's out there. And I'm gonna put these boards along the edge so the kids are less likely to fall off maybe. And yeah, we'll see what's next. And here's the final product. So I cut these in half pretty much, sewed them back together using a hand sewing machine. And I got the skin put on. Remember this part was from underneath here, and then this part had to be taken from in this storage area on the outside wall. I actually cut the on accident the cable, the output cable, and had to replace that. I just nicked it. It was probably fine, but I replaced it anyways with the help of my brother-in-law. And I put 3 coats of paint that I got from Lowe's on here. I just color matched. I just took one of these wooden panels and color matched, and I think it looks pretty good compared to the rest of the camper. And I didn't poly just because I didn't want to wear a respirator or get nerve damage from the fumes. So yeah, I think 3 coats of this stuff should hold up pretty good. And that's about it. Also, Rochelle insisted that I show you guys this, so right under the little mattress and the mold protection, I used a inch hole saw right there and right here. Just made 2 little holes. And let's see if I can do this while holding a phone. And that lifts up this entire storage compartment. And that's where I took this piece from, a little piece there. I took from there. That's where I cut the wire. Right on the other side is the cable output. And I'll show you that in a sec. I really could have just, checked what was on the outside before I went and cut, but I trusted my oscillating abilities. If I were to do it again, there's another spot right here. Sorry, everything's already loaded up. Spot right there where it goes all the way down to the ground, and there's nothing on the other side except for the seat. So there'd be nothing in there but studs. So that's a safe place to take this piece from. And this is not that one. This is the cable output that I accidentally nicked from right inside there. So again, if I just looked to see what was on the outside, I would have saved myself there. So we added this ladder here just to make it easier. Our 6-year-old now, he's gonna be up there. So this was a little longer. I just pulled off the rubber feet and cut like, I don't know, 10 inches off or something. It just hangs on there so it comes right off, which is pretty cool. So that's on there. And then Emmett said he was worried about falling off, so we put this on there. He shouldn't fall off the bed. This is pretty much just the piece that was originally here, or down here for the bunks. And so we just reuse that. I'm gonna actually screw it in later, but for right now it's kind of just sitting in there. We'll see how that works. But yeah, that's actually it. Alright, so that pretty much does it for the bunk renovations. There's a couple other things that we're doing in here, some spice rack stuff, backsplashes. We added a couple hinges and some struts so the stuff would open a little easier. If you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to see those videos, follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We're also on Instagram. We're the Happy Trails family, and we're going to be traveling across the US for the next couple years. So yeah, check us out. Happy Trails.